and of herself. The canvases are dark and gloomy in tone, stiff in drawing, and awkward in the handling of space. But they have an undercurrent of strong feeling that would grow stronger as she developed her skills. In 1928, her health improved. She painted a portrait of her sister Christina. Here, the dark atmosphere of the first paintings is gone. It is really the difference between night and day. The year in which she painted Christina, Frida met Diego Rivera. I did not know him except by sight, but I admired him enormously. I was bold enough to call him so that he would come down from the scaffolding to see my paintings and to tell me sincerely whether or not they were worth anything. He said to me, "I'm very interested in your work. Go home, paint a painting, and next Sunday I will come and see it and tell you what I think." This he did, and he said, "You have talent." The relationship between Frida and Diego intensified, and it was not long before Frida appeared in one of Diego's murals called The Ballad of the Proletarian Revolution. She appears as a young revolutionary wearing a red shirt with a red star, and she hands out rifles and bayonets to the workers. The mural bears testimony to Frida's developing political awareness. Guillermo Kahlo did not take unkindly to Rivera as a son-in-law, but Frida's mother disapproved because Rivera was old and an atheist. Nothing would dissuade Frida, however, and when she and Rivera wed, her parents said it was like the marriage between an elephant and a dove. As with any aspect of her life that affected her deeply, Frida recorded her marriage in paint, starting with a wedding portrait painted after 2 years of married life. The couple's relationship is a little stiff. They face forward instead of toward each other, and their hands are only tentatively clasped as if they were new partners. Diego is portrayed as he saw himself, the great artist wielding his palette and brushes. Frida plays the role she loved best, the genius's adoring wife. She cocks her head and extends her arms in his direction. It is apparent that even in the first years of marriage, Frida knew that Diego was unpossessable. Frida once said, "Being the wife of Diego is the most marvelous thing in the world. I let him play matrimony with other women. Diego is not anybody's husband and never will be, but he is a great comrade." I suffered 2 great accidents in my life, one in which a streetcar knocked me down. The other accident is Diego. In Diego Rivera, Frida found both joy and sorrow. Their marriage was a union of sacred monsters. Their love, battles, separations, political escapades, friendships with men like Trotsky, Ford, and Eisenstein were gobbled by the press and mythologized by the public. In a self-portrait from the year they got married, Frida looks like a person from a totally different world from the Frida of the first self-portrait. She wears a cheap peasanty Mexican blouse, pre-Columbian jade beads, and colonial earrings. The romantic, melancholy European princess of the first self-portrait has turned into an emphatically Mexican girl with a fresh, eager face. When Frida married Diego, she began to espouse his Mexicanism. She wore the regional costumes of Tijuana. She followed Rivera's lead in choosing to paint Indian children in the bright, often jarring colors so often seen in Mexican popular art or in any market square. One of Frida's most important self-portraits was painted when she was in Detroit with Diego in 1932. She is clad, uncharacteristically, in a long pink dress and lacy gloves. She stands on the border between ancient Mexico and the United States. On the Mexican side of the portrait, where Frida wanted to be, are the sun, moon, pyramids, exotic plants, and pre-Columbian idols. The United States side of the painting shows smokestacks belching smoke and windowless skyscrapers that look like tombstones. The machines have electric cords where the Mexican plants have roots. To Frida, the U.S. was ugly, dull, and drab. She once said that Detroit automobiles, anything mechanical, had always meant bad luck and pain. Another comment Frida made on life in the United States was in the painting My Dress Hangs There. Frida's empty Tijuana costume hangs amidst the chaos of the United States and its technology. Frida became pregnant at least 3 times, but her pelvis, injured during the bus accident, prevented her from bringing a child to term. Each time she became pregnant, she either miscarried or was forced to have a therapeutic abortion. The most traumatic miscarriage was the one she had on July 4, 1932, in Detroit. Her life was saved, but during the 13 days of hospitalization, she wept and she said she wanted to die. She also wanted to draw the fetus the way it should have looked when she lost it. Rivera procured medical books for her. She painted her miscarriage and her brush with death on a small sheet of tin, thus emulating the Mexican retablo painters. In Henry Ford Hospital, Frida lies naked in her bed, hemorrhaging onto a single sheet. Her stomach is still swollen from pregnancy. A series of objects symbolic of her emotions at the time of her miscarriage float around her bed. They are attached with loops or with ironically festive bows to the ends of red ribbons that suggest veins or umbilical cords and that she holds against her stomach. One of the objects is a male fetus, the little Diego Frida had said she hoped to have. The snail, Frida explained, refers to the slowness of the miscarriage, which, like the snail, was soft, covered, and at the same time open. At the bottom of the painting is the broken pelvis that prevented Frida from having children. The large lavender orchid looks like an extracted uterus. Diego gave it to me in the hospital, Frida said. When I painted it, I had the idea of the sexual thing mixed with the sentimental. To help combat her depression from the miscarriage, Rivera conspired to keep Frida occupied, and she produced a lithograph called Frida and the Abortion. Me and My Doll, painted in 1937, expresses most directly Frida's frustration at not being a mother. Instead of a conventional image of a mother cooing over her infant, we see a woman sitting bolt upright. She is very much alone. My painting carried within it the message of pain. Painting completed my life. I lost 3 children. Painting substituted for all of this. I believe that work is the best thing. Frida transferred her yearnings for a baby to other people's children. Christina's children, Isolda and Antonio, were in and out of their aunt's house as if it were their own. Frida lavished a different but equally warm attention on her numerous pets, a pack of dogs, various monkeys, cats, parrots, doves, an eagle, a deer. When monkeys and parrots accompany Frida in her self-portraits, they often seem a substitute for children. The most interesting and frequent animal companions are her monkeys, symbols of promiscuity and fertility. Sometimes Frida draws parallels between simian features and her own. Other times, the monkeys seem to be part of her. Although her monkeys always seem to console her and to provide company, they actually underscore her horror at being left alone. Their physical proximity is disturbing, for their animal restlessness heightens the tension of Frida's stoic impassivity and hints at a bestial wildness hidden beneath her skin.